Welcome to this video. We will guide you through setting up some basic features of the Akuvox access controller A095. A095 is an access controller with multiple ports, including RS-485 and WEGAN ports for seamless integration with external digital systems like card readers, elevator controllers, and fire alarm detectors. It features 8 built-in relays for controlling doors and providing secure card access. The A095 is suitable for applications in commercial buildings, hospitals, and warehouses, offering comprehensive control of building entrances and surroundings. This video covers 7 key parts, from understanding the wiring interfaces to various wiring and configuration tutorials. Let's start with identifying the device's interfaces. At the bottom, we have door 1 to 4, working for access control. Each door has NC, COM, and NO interfaces for connection with a door lock. DPS, short for door position switch, connects to a door sensor for detecting abnormal door opening. REX, short for request to exit, is typically connected to a push exit button for door opening. There are also 4 auxiliary outputs that can be connected to door locks, and 4 auxiliary inputs that can connect to push exit buttons, emergency buttons, door sensors, etc. The RS-485 interface allows for connecting to the elevator control device. The power interfaces are used for connection with a power adapter to supply power to the device. If PoE Plus is not available, it is suggested to use a 12-volt DC 5-ampere power adapter. Let's shift our focus to the interfaces on the top. There are 8 reader interfaces, each allowing for the connection with an external device via WEGAN or OSDP, such as a WEGAN card reader. Each reader also has power interfaces for supplying 12-volt power to an external device. On both sides of A095, we have additional interfaces. On the left, there is the Wi-Fi antenna interface, the reset button, and the SD card slot. On the right, here are RJ45 for network connection if PoE Plus is unavailable, the PoE Plus port, the SIM card slot, and LTE antenna interface. These are all the interfaces. Before wiring, power on the device and connect it to a network to see whether it functions normally. In this video, we simply use PoE Plus to power it up and provide network connectivity. The blue power indicator light and flashing run indicator light indicate that the device has finished initialization and all features function normally. Then, you can obtain the device IP for logging into its web portal. Press the reset button, and it announces the IP.
IP 192.168.100.28.
Alternatively, scan the device with IP scanner on the same local network. Enter the IP in a browser. The initial username and password are admin. You are required to modify the password for security upon the first time login. Later, we will return to the web interface for configuration. Next, let's wire the device to a lock. Cut off power before wiring. This demonstration uses an electric rim lock, which opens when powered. Since the A095 can supply 12-volt power to external devices, we will use it to power the lock. Please refer to the wiring diagram. Connect V+ and GND of the lock to the device's power out and power GND interfaces. Insert the V+ and GND wires into the terminal block. Ensure connections are secure. Connect L and L+ to the device's COM and NO interfaces. Insert the wires into the terminal block. Then, install blocks to the device. Before unlocking the lock, we need to add a user and set up credentials. As the A095 does not have a built-in keypad or card reader, we will connect it to a card reader first. Take a WEGAN card reader as an example. Please refer to the wiring diagram. The card reader needs a 12-volt power supply. We use A095 to power it on. Find the D0, D1, GND, and power wires of the card reader. Insert these wires into the corresponding interfaces on the A095. Since the A095 powers the reader, connect the GND wire into the GND out interface instead of the GND interface. Additionally, connect the beep and GLED wires of the card reader to the A095 that can send buzzer and LED signals to the reader. Then, install the terminal block. Next, go to the device's web interface for configuration. Power it on. Since the lock is powered by the A095, enable power output first. Find the 12V power output section on the access control door interface. As the lock is connected via Reader 1 interface, configure 12V power output A. Select Triggered by Open Door since the lock opens when powered. Ensure 12V power output B option is always to power the card reader. Don't forget to submit the setting. Then, click Device Reader. Since we connect the card reader to the A095 via Reader 2 interface, configure Reader 2. Ensure the weakened mode is weakened. The weakened display mode and card reader mode should be consistent with the card reader. Check the door to be opened via weakened. Optionally, you can set whether the GLED shows the real-time status of the selected door. If a door is selected and it is open, the GLED remains on. Submit the settings. Then, go to the directory, User Interface. Click Add to add a user. Enter the username. Here we assign a card to the user. Click Obtain while placing the card on the card reader. The card code displays automatically. Scroll down to the access setting part and check the door to be opened by the user. Submit the settings. Now, let's unlock the lock. Swipe the card, and the lock is unlocked. Let's proceed to connect A095 to a door sensor. The door sensor or door position switch detects whether the door is forcibly opened and trigger actions, like sending notifications or opening other doors. Connect it to the A095 via the DPS and GND interfaces. Cut off power before wiring. Locate the DPS and GND interfaces. Insert the wires of the door sensor into the terminal block. Ensure the connections are secure. Then, power on the device and configure it. Go to the access control door interface. Enable the DPS interface used for connection. The door sensor used here triggers a high level when separated. Therefore, set the trigger option to high. Next, you can set up the timeout alert and action to execute. When the DPS trigger time exceeds this time limit, A095 will trigger the pre-configured actions, sending emails to a designated email address, or sending an HTTP command. Then, configure the break-in intrusion feature. Choose the door to apply this feature. Since we have connected the door lock via Door 1 interface, select Door 1. You can check the auxiliary output to be triggered when break-in intrusion occurs. Here, we enable auxiliary output 1. You can also set whether to send a message to the pre-configured email address when the break-in intrusion happens. Submit the settings. To trigger the auxiliary output, ensure it is enabled on the access control auxiliary output interface. Set the action type to open. Click Submit. Let's test the feature. Power on the devices. Separate the door sensor. The indicator light of the auxiliary output is flashing. Go to the Status Event Log interface where we can see that break-in intrusion occurs and the auxiliary output is triggered. Continue to the next part. Connect A095 to an Akuvox push exit button. Remember to cut off power before wiring. Use the Akuvox EB12 as a demonstration. EB12 has 4 wires, representing NO, COM1, NC, and COM2. Here we use the red wires. When the button is pressed, the circuit closes, allowing the current to flow and triggering the door to open. Connect them to the REX and GND interfaces. No specific sequence is required. Then, power on the device. On its web interface, click Access Control Door. Enable REX1 and select the door to be opened. Save the setting. Press the button and the door opens. Lastly, we will connect A095 to a fire alarm sensor. When the sensor detects smoke, it will sound an alarm and trigger door opening. Connect the COM and NO wires of the sensor to the GND and auxiliary input interfaces of the A095. Locate the target interfaces and insert wires into the terminal block. The sensor is powered by a 12-volt power adapter. Ensure the connections are firm and secure. Then, navigate to the Access Control Auxiliary Input interface. Check the input and select the door to be opened before clicking Submit. The sensor sounds an alarm and the door is opened. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment. We'll make more technical videos to help you set up Akuvox products and solutions. Thanks for watching.